Good morning, folks. I just drove 2 hours to get here from Ephesus to a place called Lagina. And on the drive, I had a lot of time to think about my relationship with a place like this and how it's developed over the course of nearly a decade. And also to think about how many of us come here to a place like this in Asia Minor or Turkey, first as tourists, and we develop a relationship with it. Good night. And our first impulse, our first visit has a lot to do with tourism, or if we're studying archaeology, that might be the reason why we're coming, or for a fan of history, or for spiritual reasons. And a lot of you know this, but here in Asia Minor, around Ephesus, even if you plan your first visit for a week, you're going to take in about maybe 20% of what you can take in. That's one thing. And not only that, you're going to be taking in so many epics of history here, going back to prehistoric times, Neolithic times, and then unfolding into the Greek Hellenic times. They got here around 800, 900 BC, before Christ, yeah. And then the Romans came on their heels, and then they reformed a lot of the temples and renamed a lot of the gods. And they started, of course, with polytheism and then converted to Christianity, launching the Byzantine period. And when you first come here, you're truly overwhelmed by the complexity of some of these temples, the beauty of them, and the energy of them. And if you do temple hopping in one day, you're going to do yourself a little bit of a disservice, because they're all going to melt into one. You know, you need to take your time, go to a temple, take your time. This is my advice, okay? Now is the time of these wonderful berries that aren't quite ripe. Funny enough, in Italy they're ripe, but they're not ripe here. So you're going to be confronted with the form over your five senses of a temple like this. This is the Hecate temple, and it's out in the boondocks for a good reason. It has to do with the goddess Hecate. So you're going to be confronted with the form. Why is the altar there? Why is there a dog leg, in this case, from the temple to the altar? But you're also going to be confronted with the god or goddesses associated with the temple complex. This is normal. And to sort that all out, it takes time. And that's the reason I find myself coming back time and time again to this area, either because I'm leading tours here, which I'm grateful for, or because I live in Munich, so I'm allowed to come here with a 2.5-hour flight. That's very handy for me. You know, if you live in the States, you have to really make an effort to get here. These aren't ripe. Now, that woman's picking them. I wonder why she's picking them, but she probably knows where they're ripe. It doesn't matter. They're really rich in vitamin C. Sorry for the distractions, but that's life here. And as I said, you know, these gods and goddesses that were venerated here, they went through a long process, because they were adopted by the so-called Catonic gods and goddesses. That means the most original gods and goddesses from Anatolia were then adopted by the Greeks. And we have a very human tendency to make our gods and goddesses like in our image. The Egyptians did that as well, to some extent. And the Greeks definitely did that, and then the Romans did it even more. That means the gods and goddesses wear the clothes that we wear. And that's all okay. The thing is, you get more and more removed then from the original god and goddess, because the Catonic gods and goddesses predate any formal religion. And they're numerous, both males and female, mostly female here in Anatolia. And Hecate is one of them. And Hecate is a very interesting goddess because she's definitely Catonic. So if you want to trace her back into her original form, this is a good place to do it, because this temple was built in 600 BC for more or less for the original Hecate. Now the Greeks, when they adopted Hecate, they assigned certain traits and qualities to her. For example, she's the goddess of the crossroads, she's the goddess of witchcraft, she's the goddess of the underworld, which she is, and many other things. Here, where I'm standing now, and I'm going to walk you through it, is an unbelievable temple complex, very large, and they're excavating right now as I talk. And thank God it was not disturbed, because it, like a lot of these places, were covered in a landslide underground for a long time, and they didn't build any town on this place because it's too remote, which is a great gift for us all. And, you know, typically when you come to a place like this, like I said, I'm going to give you a walk around a little bit, you know, but first I wanted to share with you some of my thoughts. You're going to find parts of it which are the original part, especially the altar. And then you're going to find parts of it which are added to it from the Hellenic Greeks. And then you're going to find parts of it which were added to it from the Romans, or changed from the Romans. And then typically you're going to find in one corner or the other a synagogue for Jewish folks. And then you're going to find also, without a doubt, a pretty rough chapel that they built up in the Byzantine time. Sometimes directly on the altar, sometimes not. In regards to the Hellenic folk, the Greeks, in comparison to the Romans, because I've been thinking a lot about this, because I feel a great affinity to the Hellenic aesthetics, their art, their lifestyles. And the Hellenic folks were much more gifted in the mysteries and rituals, and really profound rituals and profound mysteries. Their teachings are filled with that. The Romans were basically builders, and they were more interested in pomp and circumstances. That means they were more interested in ceremonies. Nothing wrong with that. But my sense is with the Roman Empire here, and in general, the mysteries played second fiddle. They valued much more huge banquets, gluttony, mastery over nature, taking what you want from nature, like the trees here. That's why a lot of these islands and a lot of this area here is denuded, because they took the trees and they don't grow back because the earth is no longer stable. And as we all know, they brought these animals up from Africa just for a banquet. Now, I'm not against the Roman Empire one bit. I find it very impressive because it lasted nearly 2,000 years. And two capitals, by the way, Rome and then Constantinople. Extremely impressive. I know there's a lot of interest in the Roman Empire right now, especially among men. But the difference between the Hellenic Greek lifestyles and aesthetics is enormous. So when you have a chance to come to a Hellenic Greek temple that's somewhat intact, or a town like Prien, where I was yesterday, then you're going to see a beauty, you know, because you're going to see something done with so much care and so much planning. And when you see a city planned by Rome, like Malay, then you see these, you know, all this original planning of cities with the streets going one way, and like in Pompeii and like in Ephesus. But here we are basically at a Hellenic temple complex built for the goddess Hecate or Hecate. I've been doing a lot of work, like a lot of people have, on trauma, a lot in the last couple of years, and I've also looked into my own trauma. So if we talk about Hecate as one of these chthonic goddesses that go way, way back, then, and she has symbols, okay? Her symbol are the dogs, which has a lot to do with the underworld, and also a torch. Other symbols which came later have to do with how the people adopted her and transformed her, like the keys and other things, and a scale. If you ask me, that has nothing to do with the chthonic goddess Hecate. And take the symbol of a torch, okay? That's fire. Students of trauma know that the main element that composes our body is water, up to 75% or more. And if you study the work of that great Japanese scientist, he's Moto, he proved that water takes on energy. And the water in our body takes on trauma, and how it does. It just permeates the water in our body. And if you know anything about anatomy, you know that all the organs in our body are 75% water. The blood is 80% water, I think, and the lymph fluid is also 90% water. Now, the symbol of the torch serves two purposes. One thing is it gives light to the journey into the underground. The other thing is it's fire. And fire, in this sense, especially when it comes from a goddess like Hecate, offers to burn away a lot of trauma. So that's why this temple complex here, and that's why I'm going to come here in October with a group of people, is so important, because it is a portal to the underworlds. Guided with a torch, thanks to Hecate. And through that, you can do a lot of reconciliation with prenatal trauma, which a lot of us have, early childhood trauma, and then allow her fire of her torch to burn away, or to cleanse the water in our body from all that trauma. And as I said, I've been here many times, but the advantage of coming here numerous times, and it's maybe my 5th time here, is that you're no longer overwhelmed by the form and the beauty here, and you're also no longer overwhelmed and by the goddess and what she represents. And then you could bring the two of them together. You can now, after coming here 5 or 6 times, personally now, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm just telling you, this is my method. You can bring together the goddess and her temple here, and then you experience something really extraordinary. So I just wanted to share that with you, because it's been going through my mind. I've only been here for 4 days, and I've had sort of a extraordinary deepening of my relationship with not only with Artemis and Sibylla, but now Hecate. All right, now I'm just going to turn the camera around and just stroll quietly through. I won't explain anything, but I just wanted to share that with you and get that off my chest. And there's a city connected with this town. It's connected by a sacred street, and I'm debating whether I go there because it's a Roman city, and I just want to spend time here, but we'll see. It's better to play it by ear here.